What's up guys, welcome to another video. In this video I will be speaking about how you can get lean and stay lean the primal way without having to count any calories and without having to go to the gym. What you should actually do instead, and how staying lean is easy as fuck. First of all, why you don't need to count any calories is simply because people in nature, people that stay lean in nature, doesn't count calories. Do we need to count calories if we would live in nature? No, because if you look at nature, you don't see any fat person just laying around in nature that has a lot of health issues and that are fat. That is not a thing. They're not stressing over how much they eat, okay? Because they're eating food when they are hungry, and they're eating nutrient dense food without having to restrict themselves. They don't think about getting fat. They're eating food and then they're stopping when they're satiated. That is exactly how it should be when you are biochemically healthy, right? But today we have a bunch of bullshit. We have processed foods, we have fruits during winter time, we have excess carbohydrates. We have access to everything nowadays. We have access to whatever you want to get now. You can go to the grocery store and you can buy that, right? In nature, you don't have an abundance of food. You have a limited access of food, and therefore you should look at nature and you should look at your season. So let's say you are in winter right now. If you're in Europe, for example, or higher latitude, then look around in nature and see what foods are actually available. Do you have fruits available that grows naturally? No. Then if you're going to the grocery store and you're buying exotic fruits, you're gonna put on weight, first of all, because you're giving your body mixed signals. This is a problem, right? You should be focusing on what grows in nature or what is available in nature. Look around, you'll see that you'll actually have animals in nature that runs around. So what is ideal then for you if you live in wintertime right now? Then is mostly high fat, high protein. Okay? So if you focus on eating a lot of fat, eating a lot of protein instead of eating carbohydrates for no reason, just out of boredom, which most people do, you will actually be able to feel satiated. You'll be able to eat the food and feel light, so you can actually move right after the meal. You don't have to lay down on the couch. This means that you should start your day off with protein and fat. Ideally, what I do right now is I actually lose weight right now. I'm trying to get a little bit leaner just because I realized that I'm actually getting a little bit too chubby from what I can see when I look back in my videos. I just look a bit chubbier than what I want to look. So I'm actually focusing on eating 2 big meals right now. So one in the morning, approximately 30 minutes to 1 hour after I wake up. That is filled with fish or meat, eggs, and butter. So that is mainly protein and fats. That actually keeps me satiated throughout mostly the whole day, I would say. And during the day, I eat a little bit of fruit. I drink some coconut water to stay hydrated in the sun when I'm moving and stuff. And then the second meal is also a bigger meal. Probably, yeah, exactly the same meal. Fish with a lot of omega-3, so raw mackerel with some. Right now I'm doing lightly cooked eggs, so just the egg whites are cooked, the yolk is raw. Then I'm doing butter, so pasteurized organic butter. And that's it. That's what I eat. I stay satiated, and I do 2 bigger meals. And what's also very important here is that you don't restrict yourself on these meals as well. So fill up a bigger meal so you know that, okay, I might not even finish this. So you eat until you're actually full, until you're actually satiated, and then that's it. You don't need to eat excess carbs. You won't really crave excess carbs or carbs overall, especially if you're in winter right now, because your body is supposed to be fat adapted. And then if you are in summer like me right now, I'm in Vietnam, it's sunny and it's nice weather, whatever. I move a lot, I play football on the beach. Then I can actually eat fruits and hydrate, because you should be eating seasonally, but I don't over consume on them. What is also very important here is actually meal timings. So if you are eating your food right before you go to bed, you will lead up with bloating, poor sleep, you won't be able to absorb the nutrients properly. That will only damage your body even more, and you will actually wake up with cravings. So make sure that you eat your last meal, maybe 3-4 hours before bed, minimum. And that is exactly how you stay full, stay satiated throughout the day while you're actually trying to get leaner. Super simple. That's what they do in nature. They eat the tail to nose animals. They're drinking raw milk, raw blood. And if you're actually focusing on raw products here, you will be more satiated because you get more nutrients, more bioavailable nutrients, okay? If you're eating it cooked, you're gonna get some nutrients, but you won't actually be as satiated as if you were eating raw foods. So this is recommendation or tip number 1. This is what you should follow now. Restricting calories is kind of feminine, like you're looking at numbers on the screen, like that don't really dictate anything. Do they do that in nature? No, they're not looking at any numbers, you know. They're eating until they're satiated. They're eating real animal-based foods. Second of all, why you don't have to actually go to the gym, and what I do instead of going to the gym, instead of hitting isolated movements that no one in nature would do, what do they do in nature? They're moving. They're hunting animals, they're out in sunlight, they're dancing, they're having fun, they're carrying stuff. They're always outside, they're always grounded. And this is something that goes hand in hand with your diet as well, and with eating animal products. Just because your blood sugar will get lowered and it will be more stable when you are outside, because you get the benefits from sunlight. Same thing here with movement overall. You know, you want to make sure that you're actually staying active, because if you're stagnant in nature, you will have health issues and some things won't actually align. So what I personally do is I do activities that I actually enjoy. Most of you guys, or most of the guys that are trying to lose weight, they're looking at this whole thing as a challenge. They're looking at this thing as something very hard, like, okay, for the next 30 days, I'm gonna go to the gym every single day. I'm gonna lift weights. I'm gonna crush them weights. I'm gonna restrict myself on my diet. I'm only gonna eat salad and protein shakes, and I'm gonna count every single calorie and macro. Over this 1 month, I will hopefully look very lean and look good after it. But if you look at this whole thing, if you look at weight loss as a challenge, then you've already lost, because you won't be able to live in a challenge 24/7, you know. You won't be able to actually complete a challenge that will be sustainable for your whole life, you know. It should be sustainable. So what you need to do is actually find a sustainable diet, as I said, with protein and fat. And then with movement as well, you don't want to suffer in terms of fucking doing marathons and, you know, doing weights that you don't like, going to jog that you don't like. You have a lot of tension in between you and the gym or working out overall. You don't want to have any tension. Something that I do to make sure that I don't have any tension between movement and myself is I actually do movements that I enjoy. So I can go to the beach and play football with my friends. I can stay out in sunlight, and I can play cricket, or what's it called, pickleball. I play paddle with my boys. I go for long walks with my guys, just speaking, you know, laughing, having fun conversations. I go in the ocean, start swimming, things that I actually enjoy, and I do that for a longer period of time, and I don't see that as a challenge. Like, I just move, I have fun, I you know, play football. Like, who actually complains about playing a sport? I've never heard a fat guy that actually don't like to play any sports. Like, they still enjoy that. You may be fat right now, and you probably know yourself that it's pretty fun. You can still play like table tennis and stuff that is very low effort, but you're gonna burn a lot of fat and burn calories as well. So find something sustainable that you enjoy. What I can primarily actually recommend is going for long walks with your friends. I think that is the most sustainable thing. This is exactly what they do in nature. They don't look at moving around as a challenge or like something that is very, very hard. They live life, you know, that is what it's supposed to be. And then they rest good as well, you know, they sleep probably 9 hours, 10 hours. I don't know, but personally, I've had these past few days, I've been sleeping 9-10 hours just because I'm moving a lot. I'm walking, I'm getting 15,000 steps per day. I'm on the beach for multiple hours, playing football, kicking, going in the ocean. And I know you guys don't actually, or most of you guys don't have access to a beach right now or good weather. That's why I actually recommend you to go for longer walks, because that is really nice. Like, I love it myself. When I'm back in Sweden, I go for longer walks and it helps me a lot. This is very easy because first of all, you will stay satiated throughout your whole day if you're starting your day off with a bigger meal that's protein and fat based. Then during the day, personally, I don't get any cravings when I start my day with fat and protein, because I don't actually spike my blood sugar levels at all. So I don't crave that much food, to be honest. Like, I stay satiated. And then second of all, when you do sustainable movements, you will always be in a calorie deficit sustainably. You don't have to count anything. You don't have to look at some app. What they eat in nature is protein and fat. Why don't we replicate that? So easy. People are trying to be vegan. People are trying to go on some sugar diet. You know, stuff like that. That is just coping, in my opinion. It's not sustainable. It will not help anyone. If you are constantly eating sugar, you're just developing a sugar addiction. You don't actually get that same addiction with protein and fat. Even though you might like it a lot, it's pretty neutral. You just get satiated, you don't think much of food, you go on with your day, and that's it. Another extra thing I can add here is actually you being outside as much as possible. That's a pretty important thing. If you're being outside and if you're exposed to natural light 24/7, your body will function the way it should be functioning. So if you're at work, for example, open up a window so you get some natural light inside, because your windows actually blocks out the benefits of the red light and infrared light. So and if you have breaks, go outside. You can eat your meal outside as well. Also be aware of not snacking at all, because snacking will cause blood sugar spikes. That will only be a negative here. So try this out. This is how you stay lean the primal way. It is super easy. I've been staying lean now for a long time. I've just recently put on some healthy fat. Now I'm getting down again because I want to look a bit leaner in the face for my videos and for my brand. I think it's better overall. I hope you guys got some value out of this. Let me know in the comments what you thought about it, and try this out, and then in 30 days let me know how you feel, because I know that this is the blueprint for most of you guys that want to lose weight. Yeah, see you guys in the next one.